Here's your wrestling news for December 27th, 2020. And your headlines for today include: Brodie Lee passes away at 41 years old. Wife gives new details about his cause of death. Vince McMahon's health is allegedly not good right now. WWE plants seeds for Dream Roman Reigns match at WrestleMania 37. WWE confirms Seth Rollins' return. Why WWE reshot match on SmackDown this week. Jim Ross recalls how he dealt with a tearful WWE superstar backstage. Sad story brought to light yet again. Kevin Owens reacts to losing 2 straight matches to Roman Reigns. John Cena regrets making his feud with a superstar personal. Story of Vince McMahon's planning to buy something very extravagant is revealed, and more. We are starting off today with some very sad news as Brodie Lee, aka Luke Harper, has passed away. We previously reported Brodie Lee's absence from AEW was a, quote, state secret. AEW broke the news that Brodie Lee, real name Jon Huber, has died at the age of 41 years old. The All Elite Wrestling family is heartbroken. In an industry filled with good people, Jon Huber was exceptionally respected and beloved in every way. A fierce and captivating talent, a thoughtful mentor, and simply a very kind soul that starkly contradicted his persona as Brodie Lee. He leaves behind a wife, Amanda, and 2 children, Brody and Nolan. Brodie Lee Jr. was just at the Holiday Bash taping where he won the AEW World title from Kenny Omega. Lee's wife Amanda Huber sent out a heartbreaking Instagram post about her husband's passing. She confirmed that he passed away, surrounded by loved ones, from a lung-related issue. She also made it clear that it was not COVID-19. My best friend died today. I never wanted to write out those words. My heart is broken. The world saw him as the amazing Brodie Lee, formerly known as Luke Harper. But he was my best friend, my husband, and the greatest father you would ever meet. No words can express the love I feel or how broken I am right now. He passed surrounded by loved ones after a hard-fought battle with a non-COVID-related lung issue. The Mayo Clinic is literally the best team of doctors and nurses in the world who surrounded me with constant love. This is a heartbreaking situation and a terrible tragedy, and our thoughts are with Brodie Lee's family, friends, and fans during this time. We've got some concerning news regarding Vince McMahon now, as the chairman isn't doing too well at the moment. That's according to Ryback, who took to Twitter to send his best to McMahon, saying he's heard reports that the chairman's health isn't great these days. The issues between Ryback and WWE are well documented, and the big guy did end his tweet saying he hopes Vince can overcome this reported ill health, so Ryback can kick his ass in their ongoing legal battle over the Ryback name. We all know that Vince is one tough SOB, but at 75 years old, even the chairman of the board has to slow down sooner or later. We're sending our very best wishes to Vince and hope he can overcome whatever ill health he's currently facing, as, love him or hate him, wrestling would not be the same without Vince McMahon. Hopefully the boss will be able to attend the Raw Legends Night special that'll take place on January 4th, which will see plenty of stars from the past make an appearance. As of right now, 23 names have been confirmed for the show, including megastars like Kurt Angle, Hulk Hogan, and Ric Flair, but fans can expect even more big names to be announced. Fightful Select are reporting that WWE is still considering bringing in more legends, with Teddy Long, Ron Simmons, and Molly Holly all being mentioned by name. Given the ongoing situation, it's unclear how WWE will fit so many big names into their 3-hour show, but the belief is that stacking the show with nostalgia will help pop the ratings. Though this has happened before, it is a short-term solution to a major problem affecting all WWE brands, and we'll have to see how the company pulls off their Legends Night on January 4th. Now, it was previously reported that Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan was being planned for the 2021 Royal Rumble, but now that won't be happening. This week, WWE confirmed that Bryan will be one of the 30 men in the Men's Royal Rumble match, and during Talking Smack, the company teased a Bryan-Reigns collision for WrestleMania 37. Speaking to Paul Heyman on the show, Bryan said how he's both a better wrestler and better fighter than the Tribal Chief, and vowed that if he wins the Rumble and faces Reigns at WrestleMania, he will be the next Universal Champion. WWE doesn't usually tease things in such a direct manner unless they have a plan in place, and with Reigns finished with Kevin Owens and Bryan locking horns with Jey Uso recently, fans can expect the Yes Man and the Tribal Chief to battle next March. Seth Rollins, who's been out of action for a few weeks, and now that his and Becky Lynch's daughter has been born, the Monday Night Messiah is ready to return. Though this week's Christmas Day episode was pre-taped, the New Year's episode will be live, and it's been confirmed that Rollins will be on the first SmackDown of 2021, but it isn't clear what he'll be doing. This week's show being pre-taped allowed WWE plenty of time to get the show just right, and Fightful is reporting that part of the Daniel Bryan vs. Jey Uso match was reshot, with Bryan being instructed to sell more. At the time, the Thunderdome audience were watching a commercial break, allowing WWE to reshoot that portion of the match, and the two certainly looked impressive when the show made it to air. Now, JR was part of WWE for decades and saw plenty of superstars in his tenure, and there were few more unique than Chyna. Fans will be aware that the Ninth Wonder of the World had been in a relationship with Triple H, and that there was a period during that relationship when he started seeing Stephanie McMahon, and after leaving WWE in November 2001, Chyna never returned until her passing in 2016. Speaking on his Grillin' JR podcast, Ross spoke to Conrad Thompson about a tearful exchange with Chyna at a WWE show, saying, "The love of her life and her had a breakup, and I think that she never recovered from that to a large degree, quite frankly," said Ross. "Those that know her better than me, I'm sure will hear about this, Conrad, those who are closer to her, especially after the WWE years, which I was not. Full transparency. I think that she had to start healing again after WWE, and she could just not get over the hump." Though Chyna continued to work for WWE when the Game and Stephanie began the relationship, she had her final match at Judgment Day 2001 in May that year, defeating Lita. Chyna is both the first woman to enter a Royal Rumble match and one of a few women to win a men's title, in her case the Intercontinental title, and though she was finally inducted posthumously into the Hall of Fame as part of DX in 2019, how do you think her career would have gone if she'd been treated better in the company? Let us know below. Now, Kevin Owens has had 2 Universal title matches in the past week and has come up short both times, losing to Roman Reigns at TLC and to the Tribal Chief again in a cage on SmackDown. It's worth mentioning that Reigns' cousin Jey Uso aided him in these matches, and on Twitter, Owens shared a picture of his own family, saying that he gave his all in these matches and will continue to do so until there's nothing left. Jey Uso's star power has arguably never been higher, and though Owens came up short on these occasions, he's been protected during this feud, so fans may still see an Owens Universal title reign down the line. Do you want to see KO win the title from Reigns? And if not him, then who? Let us know below. 2 more former world champions next, as John Cena vs. The Rock will go down in history as one of the biggest rivalries of all time, and this historic feud included booking the main event of WrestleMania 28 a year in advance, a show that set a new buyout record. Not everything about their feud is fondly remembered though, as when discussing their feud, Cena said he regrets making things so personal with the Great One, even dubbing The Rock a sellout at the time. He added, "It was stupid of me. It genuinely was. That was my perspective at the time. For me to not be able to see Dwayne's vision on what he wanted to do personally, and how his personal success could affect a growing global brand, that was just ignorant on my part." Much like The Rock, who is now the highest paid star in Hollywood, Cena has gone on to have great success on the silver screen. And whilst both men have nothing but praise and respect for each other now, things were vastly different in 2012. Now, outside of wrestling, Vince McMahon hasn't had the best of business success, with the XFL and WBF both costing the chairman millions. Well, according to Eric Bischoff, there was a time when the chairman was looking at more risque adventures, as on his 83 Weeks podcast, Bischoff said McMahon was buying Playboy with Girls Gone Wild founder Joe Francis. "I hooked up with Joe Francis and WWE to do a show/pay-per-view. I set up a meeting with Joe Francis and Linda McMahon because Vince McMahon was interested in buying Playboy, and Joe Francis was also interested in buying Playboy for different reasons, so they both had different goals. They were both interested in the same property, so I got those two together, and Linda had a meeting with Joe in Los Angeles because of me." We can't even imagine what Playboy magazine would be like with Vince McMahon deciding on what makes it to print, and what do you think the chairman's take on the long-standing magazine would have looked like? AEW news next, and there could be major changes coming to AEW Dark. According to the Observer newsletter, Tony Khan is considering splitting the show into 2 shows, which would eliminate the issue of having too many matches, and we'll have to see if this happens in 2020.